I've been investing $60 every paycheck into 12 dividend-paying stocks for the last 98 weeks, and you're about to see what it's turned into. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. My name is Troy, and when I first began my dividend investing journey, I used to see plenty of YouTube channels with thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars in them, and that instantly made me feel a little bit overwhelmed and intimidated. That was simply because I didn't have thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to start with, so I was stuck getting started, which is sadly where a lot of people fall off. As a creator, I wanted to see if I could do something about that, which is why I started this series. I began this portfolio from the ground up with real money and have recorded the results for coming up on 2 years now. Also, I could show people what it really looks like to start a portfolio from $0. If you find yourself stuck getting started, which is where I was years ago, I'll link episode 1 above so you can go back to episode 1 and follow along with the journey. But now, let's go ahead and refresh ourselves and see where we left off last episode. Last episode, this portfolio was just under its recent all-time high with a total value of $3,223.15. Overall, we were up 8.38% or $245.84 in unrealized market gains since starting the portfolio from $0 right here on the channel. With that in mind, let me go ahead and share with you the most recent buys made in this portfolio since the last episode. All of this episode's buys took place on November 28th of 2025. Since this portfolio is now 98 weeks old and the goal is to add $5 into each stock bi-weekly, the goal amount for each of the 12 positions now sits at $250. And here you can see that we're either right on track or at least close enough to count, since Fidelity doesn't let us invest anything under $1 at a time. Now, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit and check out the overall trend of this portfolio and some bigger picture numbers. Looking at this chart, you can see all of the movement in this portfolio going back to day one. Despite what some internet geniuses try to tell you, timing the market is very hard to do, which is why we just do good old-fashioned dollar cost averaging every other week so we don't wind up missing out on the best days, since we don't know when they're going to happen. If you look to the far right of this chart, you can see that with episode 50, we're headed back in the right direction and back above that trend line, which is always good news. At the time of recording, this portfolio was sitting at a value of $3,425.83, a brand new all-time high. And that dot for today's episode has this portfolio up $387.65 or 12.95% all time. Now, I wanted to go ahead and share with you which stocks are performing the best and worst in this portfolio all time with this right here. With this update, once again, the best performer in this portfolio is Broadcom, or AVGO, that's had an awesome last 2 weeks and is now up $292.74 or 117.26%. Now, on the flip side of the coin, the stock that's pulling the portfolio down to earth remains Old Dominion Freight Line, or ODFL, which has actually gotten slightly less sucky over the past 2 weeks, but is still down $57.56 or 23.04%. For any of my cost basis nerds, if that's even a thing, this chart is for you, so you can see how the cost basis has changed not only since last episode, but also since I began this portfolio. I'm thinking of making a chart for this to show the stock price of each of these stocks during each episode, so we can see them bounce around over time, but I haven't started that just yet, so stay tuned. Next, I want to go ahead and share with you all of the passive income that has trickled into this account just since last episode, so let's look at that right here. Over the past 2 weeks, I've gotten paid 2 times just for sitting back and doing nothing, as passive as it gets. To conclude November, on November 28th, I received 18 cents from SPAXX as an interest payment on the cash sitting in the account, waiting for the very first bonus investment into this account. More on that here in a second. Since this isn't a dividend growth position, I'm not worried about each of these payments going up over time, but instead, I'm just tracking the total amount of free money I've gotten to this point. In total, SPAXX has paid me $2.39, which amounts to 6.26% of the total income received in this account. Lastly, to kick things off for December, on December 1st, I'll be paid from Carlyle Companies, or stock ticker CSL, in a very nice amount of 69 cents. Since this one is a dividend growth position, I like to make sure this dividend grows with each payout, which you can see this one is doing by being 9 cents higher than the last payout and more than double the payout from this time last year. In total, CSL has now paid me $2.77, which is 7.26% of the total income made in this account all time. On this chart, you can see, to conclude November, we finished with $2.73, which is 131.4% higher than last November. So we continue to not only head in the right direction, but we're doing so at a rapid pace. Also, taking a quick look at December, we can see that 69 cents we received from CSL to kick off the month, with the December number to beat set at $1.05 last December. Later in the video, we'll check to see what else is still expected for December, so more on that here in a second. So far for 2025, we're closing in on $31 and now sit at $30.94, which is 327.3% higher than all of 2024, and we still have to add the rest of December to that total to set the number to beat for 2026. Earlier, we talked about the cash sitting in this account waiting for the bonus investment, so let's go ahead and check in on that right here. Since all of the holdings in this portfolio have very different yield amounts, I didn't want them getting out of balance, so I'm holding on to all those dividends in the cash balance of this portfolio. Once that gets up to one normal investment, $60, I'll do a bonus investment of $5 into each stock, which will only help it grow that much faster. With that being said, last episode, we had a bonus investment date sitting at June 1st of 2026, and now we have a new projected bonus investment date back to June 15th of 2026, which is 14 days later than the last projection. To be 100% honest, I'm not really sure what caused this projection to go up for this episode, other than maybe all of my positions being closer to the target amount or the lack of dividends since last episode, but I'm going to keep a close eye on this for the next update and hope to make up for some lost time. Nonetheless, and not making an excuse, even with this setback, it still sounds a lot better and is a lot closer than the original bonus investment date of December 6th of 2134, so let's call that a win. Since that full historical chart is a little difficult to see and will only get harder to see as we do more and more updates, I made this chart that plots the last 10 projected bonus investment dates so we can see the progress a little bit easier. As you can see, we have that recent uptick for this episode, but if we're going to stay on that trend line, the next update should be a bigger drop than normal. Again, once we know how many days it takes us to hit bonus investment number 1, we'll have that number to beat for the second one, and so on. Now earlier, I told you we'd be checking to see what else is coming down the pipeline for December, so why don't we check in on that right here. The next update to this portfolio will be on December 15th of 2025. Between now and then, we have a few key dates to keep an eye on. As far as ex-dividend dates go, we only have one that falls on December 3rd, which comes from ODFL. Regarding payments, we already talked about that first December payment from CSL on December 1st, but outside of that, we only have KNSL on December 11th between now and the next recording. Will we get a Santa Claus rally this year to end the year strong, or will we be getting some coal to close out 2025? Tell me what you predict down in the comments and meet me back here in 2 weeks to find out. If you find this video or this series helpful, go ahead and do me a favor and tap on that like button. It's free to you, no strings attached, and helps other people find the series. Do you have any questions, comments, or suggestions to make this series even better? Let me know those down in the comments, as I personally read and respond to every single comment. And if you're curious what this portfolio could turn into years from now, check out this video right here. But until next time, see you.